Welcome back. So today's video, we have had a bit of a clear out of our moulds, or sort out I should say, and we found these lovely giant acorn style pots. Previous video I tried to do this in, if you look it up on our playlist, I had mixed results with the lids. So we'll see if that is still going to be my issue again this time around. I'm going to use some lovely gold leaf or gold foil and some of these lovely mica powders from Resin. So I actually in the end decided to use these two colour greens rather than that vibrant orangey colour, and some white pigment paste. We've got, and obviously the gold foil flakes there. So we've got one large container and 3 smaller cups to mix resin in. And what I'm showing you first are these beautiful mica powders. Now, the 2 mica powders, one is supposed to be an olive green and one is a sort of olive greeny gold colour. So that's the olive green going in now. It looks quite dark, doesn't it? And this is more of a, it is, I promise you, green gold. Although those of you who know this channel and know me know I like gold in lots of things. And then this end one, we're just going to use some of this lovely white pigment paste. So this bit's been sped up a little bit. There we go. So this is the resin. It's Tea Expert's crystal clear resin. Now this was quite thick, and I think it's just because over here in the UK it is very cold now, and so by all means, if you're in a country where there's a very cold climate, put your containers of resin and hardener in just a warm sort of bucket or bowl of water, obviously still in the containers, before you mix the two together. So I mixed my resin. I had about 550 millilitres. I mixed it for 5 minutes until it was almost crystal clear, but it was thoroughly mixed. There were no streaky parts to it. And I added in the end about 3 ounces of resin into each of these cups. Now, I then stirred it in. Now I'm just going carefully, trying to incorporate that mica powder into the resin. Now normally I'd put the resin in first and then put the mica powder on the surface, smooth it out to the sides, do the sort of squidge, sort of squish sort of thing with it. Technical term that. Thank you very much to Jules from Resin Jules. And just sort of smoosh it out to the sides and then mix it in. But I thought I'd try it where you put the powder in first, or the mica powder in first, and then the resin on the top. So this is me, this is real-time video of me mixing it, and oh my gosh, how vibrant is that green. See, I wouldn't have said that was olive green at all. I would have said that was more emerald, perhaps, a dark emerald. But it's still translucent, as you can see, because these are mica powders and they don't always go opaque like a pigment paste will, which you'll see that in a moment or two with the white pigment paste. But this is that olive green gold. There we are. A little bit almost of a colour shift perhaps to it. Absolutely obsessed with these mica resin powders from Let's Resin. This is not sponsored, by the way, the video by Let's Resin. If only. Look at the two compared there. So those are both come in the green colourways. This is the white, slightly bigger stir stick, and so I'm going to just stir that up there. And this, because it's a paste in or it being added, or a liquid added to a paste, it just mix in a lot more easy. There we are. Look at that, lovely and white. Long as there's no streaks, thoroughly mixed in, scrape the bottom, scrape the sides. There you go. Try not to incorporate too many more bubbles into what you've got. So that's the 3 colours there. They look like they're going to really go very, very nicely together. Right, now there's more of this clear resin left, a lot more than 3 ounces. In fact, I did make up too much, and you'll see what I made if you check out our shorts. Our shorts will actually show you me demolding what I made with the leftover resin. So added in those gold pieces, it's not really like foil, it's more sort of, it feels tinsel-like in texture, but it is a foil flake. And there you are, just stirring it in. See, we've still got some transparency in there, which is great. That's what I wanted. And it's more of a warm gold than a pale or yellowy gold. Much more sort of warm, which is lovely for this time of year. For the end of autumn going into winter. So this is the base of one of the pots, and what we're going to do is layer up the different colours of resin, hoping that they're going to create not necessarily a bit of a marbling texture perhaps, or give the appearance of like a natural agate stone or onyx stone. If you've ever seen any of the green and cream onyxes stones or pieces made, interior pieces made from that, that's the sort of thing I was going for or hoping for. Had everything crossed at this point that it would work out. There we go. So we've put the clear resin with the gold flake in it. We're now going in with some of that white. There we are. And like a lot of things, as soon as you put white pigment in, it seems to be a lot heavier than any other pigment colour that you add to resin. It's the same if you're doing acrylic paint pouring. It just seems to be heavier. So, of course, don't forget at this point, these moulds aren't crystal clear. You cannot see whether or not this is doing what you want it to do. Look at that green. This was the darker one of the two. It's just magical, really, I think. This is just absolutely magical. Also, quite a warm colour, if that makes sense. Now going in with another layer of that beautiful golden flake in the clear resin. So what we're doing is we're layering up the colours directly into the mould and hoping that the final technique we do is going to create that almost like natural onyx or agate look. So we go, we're just going in with this final or different colour gold. Now that was the olive green gold. Look at that. It really has got quite a colour shift to it. Wow. So we repeated that step and process, and then what we're doing, I'm just sort of demonstrating there. We're going to go in with a stir stick. Now I haven't quite filled it to the top, down the side of the mould, and then dragging the resin up to the top, turning the mould or turning the stick, dragging it up to the top, turning the mould, putting the stick down, dragging up to the top. Can you see how it's mixing? Sorry, I've got a hair on the stick there, I think. Look at that, swooshing it. I think this is called the drop swirl technique, and again it's thanks to Jules from Resin Jules for demonstrating this. And if you haven't seen any of her videos or checked out her website is Resin Jules. She is obviously on the internet. She's also on Instagram. She works quite a lot with a friend of hers, a fellow artist called Helena from Resin Detra Supplies. Please check out their website. It's brilliant. They also have, I think it's every month, a Scoops which is live on Instagram. That is such fun. Check out their Instagram and pages and mark it in your diary for their next one. And you buy a scoop, whether it's a regular scoop, medium scoop, large, or a monster scoop, and they will scoop it for you, literally select all the products there and then for you live on Instagram. It's really exciting, especially if you're into glitter and other things and resins and pigments and molds and everything to do with this kind of hobby or creative outlet. It's just fantastic. So we've done the same thing there with the lids, the Acorn lids, and went around the tops at the edges of the mould, hopefully enough, all around the inside of that rim too, just to see whether or not we can get rid of any air bubbles that might be trapped. So here we go. This is the following day. We're going to demold the lid. Now the resin did shrink back slightly, so we've got a little bit of a sharp lip which we need to deal with. And yep, here we go. I've got the same sort of thing happen as I've had happen before when I use this mould. We've got a little bit of air bubbles have got trapped when it's curing. Yeah. One of the things that's been suggested to me is that maybe we spray the inside of the lid of the mould with isopropyl alcohol. And yep, next time, with hindsight, Maybe I should try that. But there we go. I was just really pleased, and oh my goodness me, look at that. It looks like it's been dusted with snow almost, and then you've got a little smattering of gold flake just on the top part of the lid. Really, really pleased with the outcome. We've got a little bit of repair work to do, which I'll show you how I do that. And we do also need to just get rid of that slightly sharp edge there. And we got the same. This is the second one. So obviously this bit's been sped up. If you've joined us today to watch the video, thank you. If you joined us in the live chat, hello to everybody in the live chat. Hope you're enjoying the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Share the video for us as well. That's been great. Have you drop us a comment? Did you enjoy it? What colourway would you use? You know, how would you do this? Would you do it any differently? Have you used anything different in it? What have the results been like? Do you have any tips for getting rid of air bubbles inside that lid that maybe we haven't tried? I also noticed here when we've demolded this base, it's shrunk back again. We got the same issue as we had there, but look at this. Wow. So we've got the gold flecks in the mica, olive gold showing through. We've got the darker gold. We've got this beautiful golden rim with a slight bit of translucency to it as well. Lots of gold in the bottom there, which is lovely too. And you could, of course, you don't have to put the lids on these pots. You could just use them as pots. I tell you one thing that we didn't have to hand, so you won't see it in the final shot of this video, but some little battery operated tea lights in here would look stunning. Beautiful, particularly at this time of year of an evening. Makes everything all nice and cozy. Sped up version here now of me demolding the second pot. We've got the same thing again. We've got some little tiny micro bubbles there, which is a shame, but never mind. I'm still so pleased with these. So pleased. They've given exactly the effect I wanted to. Absolutely beautiful. Right. We now need to let those cure completely so they keep their shape. And in the meantime, let's just see what they look like with the lid on. Now you can see the second lid I demolded. There's an even bigger air bubble, and we really do need to sort that out. But very pleased on the whole with the way that these have turned out. And as I said, you can have them with or without the lids. You could do the lids all one solid colour. You could do them all the green, or you could do them all gold, or you could have them clear with the gold in. Those would look lovely too, particularly if you did put little fine string sort of fairy lights in them, or the tea light in them. Don't put real candles in these. Wouldn't recommend that at all with resin because that would be a fire hazard. If you try to make these out of an eco resin like Aquacast by Elechem, okay, that would still look fantastic, particularly if you use the Colour Fun pigments that we've used in a previous video. If you haven't seen that, why not check that out in the playlist? And yeah, you could do exactly the same thing. You could then make your candle to put in it if you like making candles, or if that's a craft that you particularly enjoy doing. And you know, it make a lovely gift. I think these pots would make a lovely gift with or without candles in them. I mean, you can always just go and buy some candles to put in them if you wish. But as I said, if you're going to do that, you need to make it from eco resin like Aquacast or Jasminite, and not from epoxy resin, which is what this is made from. So you can see me I've used the deburring tool to take that sharp edge off the underside of the lid, and then I'm just going around the edges where we've got these little holes on the very edge of the lid, just sanding them down briefly. And now this is what I'm going to do with the bases. Now I have sanded over the bases. I'm going to just go over the surface with some UV resin. We're using Let's Resin's UV resin, and then their light, their beautiful lamp. Now the lamp comes in two parts with a shelf in the middle. It's all removable, and you can cure from the top and the bottom at the same time if your project needs to have that done. So what I've done, I've just squeezed out some resin, or the UV resin, all along the base of this pot, and I'm using that silicone tip tool just to push it to the edges. There we go, just to push it to the edges and then slightly over it, and then that's what it looks like on the left, the before and the after. So the before was on the right and the after was on the left. So there we go, look at that. So probably still a tiny bit more work needs to be done to the edge of the base of the pot. I'm going to leave the little micro holes, air holes, or bubble holes as they are. There's not a lot you can do about those. And to be honest, I think they just add to the piece. Because don't forget, this is handmade with love. They're not mass produced in factories. And just really enjoy the whole process of making these. As I say, they do need to set up a bit. So we will do that. So here we are with the lid. Now, can you see these craters? I'm going to call them, not holes, on that piece. This piece, we've started to fill them up with bits of the UV. Now, the UV resin is the hard type from Let's Resin, and do it in layers. So put a little bit in, cure it, and then repeat the process until you've got in as much as you need to have in there. So here we go. I'm just going to show you where I'm doing it. Now this is the largest hole, and I've just putting in enough. Oh, I'm being quite brave. As I say, you can just put in a little bit, spread it out, then cure it. Put in a little bit, spread it out, cure it. Repeat the process until it's as full as you feel it needs to be. And then you're happy. You move on to this next stage. Now, I'm just balancing these two lids on the upturned molds for them because I want to create the same, I want to do the same thing as I did for the base of the pots. So I've poured the resin on, I've squeezed it out onto there. Again, it's UV resin, and this bit's been sped up, and I'm just smooshing, it's that word again, smooshing, thanks Jules, out to the side, the resin, to the very edge there of the inner part of the lid, and then I cured it. And then this is one of two final shots of these beautiful pots. So that's with the lids off. As I said, you don't have to have them with the lids if you don't want to. And then finally with the lids on. So as I said again, thank you for joining us today. We will link in the description box where you can buy these products. Unfortunately, our Amazon storefront is closed currently, but so it'll just be straightforward links. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.